Hi everyone, my name is Ben and I'm a computer programmer. This video is to teach you guys the C programming language, just as I promised in my previous video. And this is my first video on the C programming language. So let's dive straight into it. We are going to learn the C programming language based on the ANSI book by Dennis Ritchie and Brian Kanigan. We stated that C is a general purpose programming language and also a procedural programming language. C also as a structure, procedure, and general purpose programming language is also the mother of other languages. Languages that you all are familiar with, such as Python, Java, JavaScript, PHP, and etc., are all written in C programming language. For this reason, C becomes the mother of all programming language. So we are going to be learning the C using the standard library created by Dennis Ritchie and Brian Kanigan in the late 1972, and also the system calls of the assembly language, which we'll be using to create several programs. Every programs we are going to be creating or writing are going to be small programs, and I promise to do my best to interpret and expand and simplify as well what the programs does. So this first program will be about creating a file in the C programming language. Remember, as I told you in our previous video, that for us to write a C program, we need just two files: one, the compiler, and two, the editor. Okay, so I will check if I have a compiler, which I know I have. I will be using the GCC compiler. Now you can see that GCC is installed by default. Okay, we also be using the Vim as our editor, which if I check using the wish command, I press enter, you see that the Vim itself is installed by default. Okay, but if you don't have it installed, to install it in your Kali, Linux Mint, or Ubuntu, you just type the super user do apt-get install Vim, and once you press enter, it install the Vim. The same command as well for GCC, and you press enter, it install the what? GCC. Okay, and that is all you need to proceed with this video. All right, since you have the Vim and the editor and the compiler installed, the next thing is to create a file using the touch command in your terminal. Okay, everything we will be doing is inside the terminal. You can see this black screen. It's the terminal itself, which is known as the CLI, command line interface. So I will create a file. I will call it create.c. Okay, so once I press my enter, that file is created. If I use the ls command to list the content of this home directory, you will see that the create.c is created. So we'll use our Vim to write our C code that can create a file for us. Okay, so create.c, press enter. Now we are in the Vim editor mode. I'll press my I key for insertion mode, then I can start writing my C program. Every C program is built into functions. Functions are sub-programs that allows you to achieve multiple tasks using functions in which you create by yourself. And those functions most times are created in an archive. Okay, are created to be stored in an archive, is either as dynamic link archive or static link archive. So the archive here is a dynamic link which is stored in the stdio.h header file. Okay, every header file must have .h, which signifies that this is a C file. So press enter. As well, also I will also include the Unis standard. Okay, the unstdi.h, where the system call that we are going to use to create an empty file, where the system call function open is being defined and declared. So that's it. So the next thing is that we need to write our main function. Okay, every C code must have a main function. A main function tells of where your CPU or instruction pointer start to execute your code. Okay, so once we are done writing the main function, we need to put the return 0, which allow us to return success. Okay, then we close this block of the main file. Then inside the main file, we can start writing our code. We like to define an integer of memory type int, giving the identifier name fd, which stands for file description. So this file description, we accept the return key of our open system call. So I would like to create a pointer as well, a pointer. Okay, and this pointer is going to accept a string Okay, I have to give it a name, so I will call it file. Okay, pointer of file. We can as well write it this way. Okay, file. Most people write it this way. Why most people write it this way? Okay, but using each of any way is different depending on what you are creating. So I will just use it this way. Okay, so press our enter key. Then I'm passing a file called the name of the file will be let me call it web text web.txt. Okay, so and that will be the name of the file. I need to put my semicolon to indicate that we have reached the end of the file. Okay, and I press my enter key. The next thing we are going to do now is to create this file for us called web.txt. So we use the system call called open, and open always returns 0 on success and -1 on error. Okay, when you check the man page of the system called open. So we pass in the fd file description, which is equals to the system called open. Okay, then we pass in the name of the file, which is the name of the file of character pointer called file. So comma. Then the next thing we have to pass in flags. Flags has to do with either we are allowing this file to have read or write, append or truncate. Okay, so we'll pass in first of all we have to pass in create. Okay, which is uppercase 0 underscore, that we want this file to be created, and all of this file must be in uppercase letter. Okay, and that is created. The next thing again, we like to pass in the read and write flag. Okay, as well I also like to pass in the append. Okay, I also like to pass in the append, uppercase O underscore append. Okay, I also like to pass in again the truncate. Okay, so I will say uppercase O underscore truncate. Okay, sorry, truncate. Okay, and that is it. Then I put my comma. These are the flag I pass. I pass in the flag of create, read and write, append and truncate. Okay, the next thing I'm also going to give a permission to the file that has to do with the read, write, execute of the user and read, write, execute of the group and others. So in the user, since this is just a text file, I will give it 6, which with the user we have the read and write. I have to pass in 0 because these permissions are written in octa code base 8 octa code form. Okay, so I will say 6 for user, which is read and write. Then the group we have 4, which is just for read, and others too we have 4. So this is the permission we are giving to the file called web.txt. So I close this and I put my semicolon. Okay, the next thing now is to check for error. Every function you write or every declaration of using a system library or a system call you write, it always good to check for error in C programming language. So we use the if statement to check for error. So we said if, okay, file description is equals to -1, which means we encounter an error. Then we jump into this file to check the error. Okay, the error here we use the p error for standard library. Okay, which will pass in the file description. We'll put colon, and by default it will give us the error which the code prompt for us. But if everything went fine, which is everything went fine, the code will just start executing from the next line. But in further doing, I would like to put this on a curly brace just to indicate that this is a block of text that has to do with error. So once we get that error, it will be good that we return something. Okay, so we return -1 as our error. Then once we are done, we close the block of this text. Then the next thing is that this is it. If this file was created successful, the error code will not execute. But if the file was created successfully, the code our compiler will just ignore this checking of errors and go to the next line to execute the next line. And our next line here will just be using the close system call to close our file description, telling the compiler that we are done with this program. Just close this file description and create this file for us. Okay, so once we are done, and this is what the code is all about. So all we have to do now is to run this code and check if the web.txt is created to us when we run this our create.c code. So press escape, save this file, double Q, press enter. We are back to the terminal. We use the GCC compiler to compile this crate.c. I would like to give it an output name called crate. Okay, so we'll remove the .c, and that is it. So we'll press enter. If there's any error, it will give us. Now you see there is no error, which means the program run very, very fine. If we do ls now, you will see that we have the crate in green color. Now you can see we have crate in green color, but there is no file here called web.txt. That is because we have not yet run this file. So we run this file by doing ./crate, and once we press enter, and that is it. Now you see the program runs successfully, no runtime error, no compile error, which means if I do the ls now, we will see the web.txt file we just created. So now you can see the web.txt file. If we list the web.txt file, then you will see that all the permission we give to it is the same. You can see the user have the read and write. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys understood, and in further doing, I would just like to show you guys one more thing before we end this video. So you can use a command called man to check for manual documentation of all the system code, like the open, the PR, the p error, and the close system calls. So you can use the man function to just check it. Okay, all right, so that's it. See you guys on my next video. It's been educational, hanging out with you guys. It's your boy Pen. I'm Lawyer. Have a nice day. Push. Please, before you leave, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Please, this is the only means or way you do, or what you do to encourage me to do more videos like this for you guys. Okay, so have a nice day. Bye bye. Be blessed.